Today we will be discussing the last movement of Gandhi, that is Quit India movement. Uh, we've already discussed non-cooperation movement and we've discussed the early movements of Gandhi. Right now we will be discussing the last movement of Gandhian period, that is known as Quit India. Couple of things before we start with Quit India movement is that in 1935 we have Government of India Act 1935, which has given more power to Indians at the provincial level, though it was not something that the leaders were expecting. They were expecting much more power in at the center as well. However, we soon find that Congress started contesting for provincial elections and became very successful. In the 1930s, right after 1935, we find that in the 1937 onwards, Congress was in majority in most of the provinces, and they became an active participant in understanding, in making changes at the provincial level, and this had also given rise to an animosity between Muslim League and the Congress, because Congress was coming up with more power in at the provinces, and also now we find how Britishers now started siding towards Muslim League because they wanted to counter the growth in progress of they wanted to hamper the growth of Congress right now. So let's get started with this new movement that was launched during the World War II. So first and foremost, we're going to discuss the war. 1939 is when we have Second World War. We have the Allied powers and the Axis power. Axis power being Germany, Japan, Italy being the major powers, and on the other hand, we have Russia. We have USSR, not Russia, sorry, USSR, in Britain, and America on the other hand, and France too on the other hand. So the war had started happening. Now, war had a great consequence on British economy, because first and foremost, uh, this was the time when Axis and Allied powers were at par with in terms of advancement of technology, and had it not been US being part of the World War, Britain would have not succeeded, and it got also its treasury got entirely depleted by the time the war came to an end. In fact, it had taken a lot of loan from Indian colony and also from USA, and thus we find that Britain was in no position to let go of a very lucrative colony like India, but the growth of USSR and US, which was talking about in USA, which was talking about equality, also led Britain to take certain very harsh measure of letting go of its colony. So the Quit India movement came at a time when British supremacy was crumbling with the approach of the Japanese force towards the Indian subcontinent. So the Japanese forces, the Axis forces, had taken over Singapore, Malaya Islands, and it had reached till Burma. Rangoon, it had reached till there, so it was knocking on the door of the British colony of India. Subcontinent and the British apparent inability to defend Indian territory. Now, it was not in a position because most of its forces had been deployed at the warfront in Europe, and here also Singapore was one of the most important naval base, but it was shattered by the Japanese forces. Soon after the Second World War broke out, Congress minister resigned from office in the provinces. As you have Japanese power knocking on your door, Congress has resigned from the province because the viceroy had accepted that India is going to be part and parcel from the British side in the war without even consulting with the Congress, and thus all the Congress leaders had resigned from their position. And then we have the fall of impregnable naval base at Singapore, and Japanese advance towards Burma in 1942. Within 3 years, we find that British power was at back foot, and also there was discontentment within the subcontinent of India with how the war has been approached. Though Congress agreed that they're going to be on the side of the Britain in terms of fighting fascism, but yet we find that dissent had started happening because they were not happy that without consultation of the provincial government, the central government gave approved participation of Indians in the Cold War. As soon as we find that Singapore got the naval base at Singapore had fallen and the Japanese army started knocking their doors at Burma, it was decided. US actually asked Britain to then. It was Roosevelt who went to Churchill and said that there should be a negotiation with the English nationalists so that we have more support in India rather than them siding with the Japanese. So then British Parliament, Winston Churchill sent Sir Stafford Cripps to India in March 1942. He was also a Labour Party. He had more radical ideas. He was of the Labour Party, and by this time we find that Labour Party is also in majority in the British Parliament to negotiate with Congress and the League, Muslim League both. The Congress leaders demanded responsible government and the substance of independence during the war. So they decided that they want to be they want government to be a responsible government, and also they want more power during and they want independence during the war. That they want India to be independent during the war, not after the war, during the war. Further, they want control over Ministry of Defense, which was one of the most important points, because for time immemorable, Congress is demanding that military funds should be cut. We are spending too much on military, and thus they wanted to have a control over, Ministry of Defense. The Cripps mission failed miserably, and Gandhi launched Quit India. He even called it as a check of a post-dated check of a fallen bank, and thus we find that Cripps mission did not lead into anything substantial. Rather, it instigated Congress further, and soon Quit India movement was launched. Gandhi, for the first time, gave a very powerful slogan, "Do or die." He said that he is in favor of, he himself is going to follow the path of non-violence. However, he wants people to follow the way they want to. However, they can reach their ultimate goal of driving Britishers away from the country, they can do that. This is a marked difference from the ideologies and the way that Gandhi has projected in his previous movements. This could be one of the factors in which Gandhi saw himself at a back foot with the rise of the left wing, and also how people have started becoming disillusioned with the whole Gandhian movement, and thus he started using bolder terms, stronger terms to ensure that people are following this movement. It was a mass scale movement. However, peasantry was mostly absent in most of the places. It did not have agrarian base. Usually, civil disobedience movement in Quit India and non-cooperation movement had humongous peasantry base, but this time there were mass movements in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. However, mostly it was the urban elites who were part of this movement. Then we have the launching of Quit India movement. However, the government was waiting for the Congress to do such act, because during the time of war, the government had the right to curb any rebellion without an unprecedented force, because this is known as coup. So that's when government decided that they're going to suppress the movement with the most draconian laws, the laws that were considered to be inhuman, and within the days the Quit India resolution was passed on 8th August 1942. Majority of front-ranking Congress leaders were arrested throughout the country. So now the movement became without leaders. Gandhi himself was in prison, and Gandhi, along with Nehru, along with Patel, Govind Vallabhbhai Pant, all important leaders behind the bars, and this was considered as a way of curbing the revolt, and also as a way of ensuring that leaders are not there to talk to people about the movement. There is another angle added to this, that this is the time when Britishers have started using policy of divide and rule and communal violence was on rise. So they ensured that all the leaders of the Congress who represented Hindu majority are put behind the bar, so that Muslim League could then be able to spread the ideas of the communal identity of Congress and the ideas of communal approach to the entire independence movement can then be spread via Muslim League, which is anti-Congress and which has started demanding for separate nation. The movement was therefore taken over by younger and more militant nationalists, both within and outside the Congress. Students of Banaras University and even school children played a significant role. This was the time when we find that students of Banaras Hindu University and students of other schools became, since all the big leaders are behind the bar, so we had no other option but to depend on younger generation, and this younger generation was more militant in nature, more violent in nature. However, Gandhi had given the slogan of do or die, so their way of dealing with the movement was completely justified. Socialists like Jai Prakash Narayan played an important role in Quit India movement in Eastern UP and Bihar. Jai Prakash Narayan that's why we find that in Eastern UP and Bihar, the movement was a mass movement with participation of peasants and tribals. It was because there was a socialist leader like Jai Prakash Narayan who was not behind the bar and who helped in gathering the masses and then leading them towards a successful movement. The British government survived the Quit India movement because it had vast resources to suppress the movement. Now, with all the leaders inside, it was able to stop the movement because then they started using violence. And as soon as violence is used, a peasant movement or a movement where middle class are involved starts to peter out because most of the middle class and peasants are dependent on their day-to-day activity. They're dependent on day-to-day activity, and as soon as their economy is hit, then they start retrieving. However, Quit India movement was launched because the leadership of the Congress and Gandhi in particular felt that there was a need to protect India from a Japanese invasion that was imminent. Now, Gandhi and also a Congress leader was saying that it is important for India to be protected from Japanese intervention. Japan is entering India only on the basis because it is a British colony. So if the Britishers leave the country in a very systematic manner before the Japanese forces enter, then there could be a peace between the Japanese forces and India in terms of saying that Britishers are no more a part of our social structure. So you were initially fighting because we were a British colony, and if we are no more a British colony, there is no point of attacking us. Gandhi argued that he wanted independence during the war for this particular reason, that they are then going to try and negotiate with the Japanese forces that they are no more a colony of the British Empire. Now we're going to understand the impact of Quit India movement. The Quit India movement was the last of the greatest national-wide movement launched by Congress and established the nationalist credential. However, from 1940s, the demand for Pakistan had started gaining momentum, and the communal question overshadowed the social quest. Now, the idea of Quit India movement was national national independence. However, from 1940s onwards, we have more of rather than having a social answer to independence, we have more communal question, that is, whose India, independent India, would it be? Would it be a Hindu majoritarian Congress independent India, or would it be a syncretic, or would it be two nations together? Post-war, British willingness to consider the withdrawal for India also made another nationwide struggle for independence unnecessary, because after the World War, it was decided that the British government is going to withdraw its power from India because of the social pressure that had started developing at international level about equality, about right to freedom, and US being the champion of it, and US helped Britain thoroughly during the war. So it was a way that
Britain had to work on it because US and even USSR, the two big powers, were talking about end of colonialism. So thus we find that this would be the last movement, a nationwide movement, because post that independence was promised to us. Gandhi was imprisoned in Aga Khan Palace, and the British were prepared to let him die there rather than make concession when he went on a fasting during February-March 1943. So he was making, he had demanded the Britishers to leave India, and he went on a hunger strike. The Britishers usually would at times succumb to such ideology because they never wanted Gandhi to be in any form be affected by their policies, because they knew that it's going to create a ripple of effect amongst people of the subcontinent, since most of them are great supporter of Gandhi. However, this was the time, because imminent ideology of Axis power becoming more powerful was something that made Britishers use exceptional force to ensure that India is silent. The British animosity towards Congress and the support for League led to the spread of communal propaganda during the period of 1942 and 45. We soon find that to pacify the impact or to negate the impact of Congress, the British government started siding with the League and thus spreading the ideas of communalism, which became fundamental during the time period of 1942 and 45. Apart from Khilafat movement that happened in early 20s, we don't find in any after 1920s any Muslim League, Muslim Hindu unity, which uh, talked on the ground of non-communalism. Sooner, we also find that Britishers have started investing in communalizing the entire independence struggle, and thus we find that if from 1942 and 45 per se, and very persistently, Britishers were trying to prefer League over Congress, so that communal violence is something that is ingrained in the mind of the people. The Quit India movement and the repression that followed enabled League to mobilize Muslims. Now, while Quit India movement was being curbed, we find that most of the leaders were inside the uh, uh, inside the prisons. Hindu right wing were taking forward their own propaganda, and Muslim League then that showed that this is going to be the future of the country, and if Congress leaders were not there to negate those ideas and talk in favor of Muslim Hindu unity, rather it was Muslim League that then started sowing the seeds of communalism amongst people, that if they stay part of Indian nation, then they, which is a Hindu majoritarian, then their own religion, their own ideas would be at would be would be demeaned, and thus we find that Muslim population was Muslim population on one side and Hindu population on the other side under the Hindu Mahasabha and other such right-wing groups then started disseminating the ideas of communalism, and we soon find that Quit India movement, though was happening in cities, the ideas of communalism was then spreading in areas of Punjab, areas of Bengal, and into the peasants rather than into the middle class. In Gandhi's view, the revolutionary violence of 1942 led to communal violence of 1946 in Bihar, because soon we find that Quit India movement only became the movement of Hindus, and Muslim population always remained aloof from Quit India movement, and thus in 1946 we find that in the same region of Bihar where J.P. Narayan had then gathered support of the peasants and developed a movement, was as soon as the movement, all the leaders were taken away, became the bed of communal violence, which later disseminated to rest of the country. 46 in Bihar, and then we have 47, and then we have 48 after post-partition. Also, it was very difficult to curb these communal violence. With this, we come to an end of Quit India movement, and now we've finished our third unit as well. Thank you, students.